An off-duty firefighter puts himself in harm's way to save a burning man in Lexington.
A married couple will be in court today facing arson charges as fire investigators say they intentionally set fire to a Habitat for Humanity home.
Tracking snow flying through the area right now, and even more expected through the afternoon hours. We'll track it coming up for you.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Well, good afternoon from WKYT News. Welcome in on what's now a snowy day. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. As you said, flakes are flying across the bluegrass right now, leaving a light coating on the ground. It's all expected to turn to rain later this afternoon when temperatures begin to rise.
But for now, we do have the snow. This is a live picture from our center point camera in downtown Lexington, and you can see most of the ground is covered right now. The roads appear to be in good shape. This is a pretty slushy situation. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell is in our First Alert Weather Center with a look at the forecast quickly.
Yeah, and you can see that even here at the station, we're really tracking some of that snow flying through the air. Our driveway, which doesn't see a lot of traffic like most driveways, certainly had quite the buildup of snow on it here over the past little bit with a few more cars traveling along. It's cleared up a little bit, but Winchester Road looks just nice and wet at this point with the snow kind of hanging around. We're at 32 degrees out at the airport. Now, we do expect temperatures to go above freezing a little bit later on this afternoon, and that should push the transition over to plain old rain. But this is certainly an overachiever as you see the snow that is working its way through the area out there. We've talked accumulation the past couple of days, light in nature, and that's exactly what this will end up being. But you can see the general flow with that snow working across central and into eastern Kentucky as well. We'll track all of this a little bit better coming up for you in a few minutes, guys.
We'll see you then. The state of Kentucky has filed a lawsuit against a women's clinic in Lexington, claiming the facility was performing unlicensed abortions. It's the second time in 2 weeks the Bevin administration has sued a clinic over abortions. The suit filed by the Cabinet for Health and Family Services is against the EMW clinic on Burt Road off Nicholasville Road. And WKYT's Victor Puente is live at the clinic now with more on this lawsuit, and it is our top story at noon. Victor?
Well, this lawsuit claims that the clinic was operating without a license. It also says that until their most recent inspection, this clinic hadn't been inspected since 2006. The opening of the complaint against the EMW Women's Clinic says, quote, Kentucky law very clearly states that an abortion facility must first be licensed before it can perform abortions. Nevertheless, the defendant operates and has operated for some time an unlicensed abortion clinic in Lexington. The 10-page lawsuit filed by the Bevin administration claims the facility exists solely to perform abortions, so they don't get a medical licensure exemption like private physicians. They also say Kentucky law requires abortion clinics to have transfer agreements with a hospital and an ambulance service just in case of an emergency. The lawsuit says the clinic has an agreement with the hospital, but not with an ambulance service. The paperwork also claims that inspectors found expired medication and that some conditions were unsanitary. They're asking the circuit court to fine the clinic and prevent them from performing any abortions until they are licensed. Workers inside told me that they were with patients. They said they couldn't talk about this lawsuit. There is another EMW clinic in Louisville. Workers there told me that someone would get back to me. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. In February, the Bevin administration filed a suit against Planned Parenthood in Louisville for operating what they said was an unlicensed abortion clinic.
A Lexington firefighter is being hailed as a hero after saving a man who police say set himself on fire on a busy street. It happened last night at the intersection of Richmond Road and Fontaine. The fire department says Fire Major Joe Madden was in the area and rushed to help the man. WKYT's Mark Barber has reaction from Madden about those terrifying moments. Mark.
Major Joe Madden oversees training here at the Lexington Fire Center on Old Frankfort Pike. He's worked for the department for more than 20 years, but he says nothing could have prepared him for this. Madden was off duty when he saw this man on fire running through the intersection of Richmond Road and Fontaine Road yesterday evening. Madden was at a stoplight and he jumped out of his car and ran to help along with several other people. He tackled the man to the ground where he was able to beat down the fire with another man's coat. During the rescue, Madden's face was singed and his right hand was burned. The man who was on fire was seriously hurt, but he was still alive. Police say he set himself on fire after an argument.
If we did not intervene, I believe he would have perished. So we altered course of events by our actions, and whether he'll live or not, I don't know. I can't speak for that. I hope he does. I hope his outcome is great.
Madden says he will recover from his minor injuries. The man who was on fire is now being treated for serious burns at the hospital. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Thank you, Mark. And even though he saved a man's life, Madden doesn't want to be called a hero. He humbly points out other people were right there with him, trying to do the right thing as well.
A husband and wife accused of setting a Lexington house on fire will be facing a judge in less than an hour. And according to their arrest citations, Angel and China Benitez set the fire at a home on East 2nd Street last May in order to collect money from an insurance company. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain has the latest on the case.
A married couple will be in court today as fire investigators say they intentionally set fire to a home here in Lexington, a home that was originally built by Habitat for Humanity. According to Habitat for Humanity CEO Rachel Childress, the home on East 2nd Street was built for Frances Gaines Willoughby. Willoughby bought the home in 1999 and paid it off in 2015. The same year her home, according to fire investigators, was intentionally set fire by her daughter and son-in-law, China and Angel Benitez, for insurance money. Court documents say several witnesses gave investigators information that led police to charge the married couple with second-degree arson. One witness says Angel was promised a shopping spree for setting the home on fire. Another witness says the couple staged the home by moving out furniture, breaking windows, and spray painting rats on the back porch. Also, it would appear as a retaliation fire against China. This particular home, like most Habitat homes, was built by hundreds of volunteers. Donors gave money and time to help build this home.
It breaks my heart that there are folks in the world who are so broken that they feel the need to do something so ugly with what is really a wonderful thing for a family and for our community as a whole.
The two are set to be arraigned this afternoon at the Fayette County Courthouse. In Lexington, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
Michelle, thank you. Frances Willoughby was arrested on Saturday in Wayne County. She is charged with conspiracy to commit second-degree arson.
Other news now. Mitt Romney is hoping to have a say in who will represent the Republican Party in the race for the White House.
The former Massachusetts governor and, of course, the 2012 Republican nominee for president says if Donald Trump wins the nomination, then Hillary Clinton will become president. Craig Boswell is in Washington with more on Romney's speech and Trump's response.
Mitt Romney is delivering a speech in Utah today with one goal in mind, stopping Donald Trump from winning the Republican presidential nomination. In prepared remarks, Romney calls Trump a phony and a fraud, saying his promises are as worthless as a degree from Trump University. He's playing the American public for suckers. He gets a free ride to the White House, and all we get is a lousy hat. Trump responded on Twitter this morning saying, "Why did Mitt Romney beg me for my endorsement 4 years ago?"
Mitt is tough. He's smart, he's sharp.
Trump says he regrets his 2012 endorsement of Romney.
He ran one of the worst campaigns, as you know, in presidential history. That was an election that should have been won by the Republicans. He was a catastrophe.
Romney's speech reflects a growing fear in the Republican Party that Trump will win, but the remaining candidates have their own strategies on how to stop him.
Thank you so much.
Senator Marco Rubio appears to be trying to split votes and spread out the delegates to fend off Trump.
What people are saying now is, please, everyone get together so we can keep this frontrunner from winning and destroying the Republican Party.
While Senator Ted Cruz wants everyone else out so he can take on Trump head-to-head.
If we are going to beat Donald Trump, the field can't remain fractured.
Cruz and the remaining Republican candidates will take their shots at Trump in tonight's GOP debate. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
And Trump will face Fox News host Megyn Kelly at tonight's debate for the first time since August, when Trump took exception to some of her questions. Well, Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio's campaign has issued a statement as to why he has canceled a scheduled stop in the Commonwealth tomorrow. The Florida senator had been scheduled to attend a campaign rally at the Lexington Center just a day before Kentucky's Republican caucus, which is Saturday. His campaign says Rubio will not be making a stop here, quote, in order to use his time as efficiently as possible before Saturday's contests. Rubio won the Republican caucus in Minnesota on Super Tuesday, his only win thus far. Dr. Ben Carson and Donald Trump did make campaign stops in the Commonwealth earlier this week. Carson's campaign is now on hold. Senator Ted Cruz is sending his father to campaign for him in the Bluegrass State. Rafael Cruz will be in Louisville today and in Bowling Green tomorrow. Well, the last time Kentucky held a caucus was back in 1984, so it's been a while, and many are confused about how a caucus works.
Now, representatives for the Kentucky Republican Party say Saturday's caucus will feel a lot like a primary for Republican voters. The difference is the voting time is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And for most counties, there's just one location to go vote, except in the larger counties like Jefferson and Fayette.
Because we've gone so long for so many years where it was just kind of a formality as to, by the time our May primary rolled around, we essentially had no influence in the process because the nominee had already been chosen.
Now tonight on WKYT News at 6, we'll look at why the Republican Executive Committee decided to caucus this year and what you'll see when you go vote.
Well, a new name has surfaced in the search to replace the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. We'll have more on the possible nominee coming up on Kentucky's #1 Midday News.
Also ahead, fans of Robin Williams will now always have a way to remember him near his San Francisco home. We'll show you the tribute to the late comedian next on WKYT. Welcome back to WKYT News at noon. A federal appeals court judge may be under consideration for the U.S. Supreme Court.
That's the word. A source familiar with the process says the White House is considering Jane Kelly to replace the late Antonin Scalia. Kelly graduated with President Obama from Harvard Law School in 1991. She currently serves on the U.S. Court of Appeals in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and was unanimously confirmed by the U.S. Senate in that appointment. An Egyptian student is facing deportation from the U.S. after posting on Facebook that he was willing to kill Donald Trump and the world would thank him. He was arrested by immigration authorities last month in the Los Angeles area at a flight school that he attended. The 23-year-old says the post was stupid and he regrets doing it, but he was angered by Trump's comments about Muslims. His deportation hearing is tomorrow. Hillary Clinton celebrated her strong Super Tuesday performance with some of her famous friends.
Katy Perry and Sir Elton John performed to a sold-out crowd at Radio City Music Hall for the I'm With Her concert. John dedicated his final song of the night, Still Standing, to Clinton. Academy Award winners Jamie Foxx and Julianne Moore were also on hand to stump for the former Secretary of State. The concert benefited the Hillary Victory Fund. Organizers said most of the money raised was from first-time campaign donors. The tunnel connects the Golden Gate Bridge to Marin County, unofficially known as Bay Area residents as the Waldo Tunnel, will now be dubbed the Robin Williams Tunnel. It has a rainbow border that many had thought would be a natural reminder of Williams' joyful personality. Williams, who died a year and a half ago, grew up and lived in the area. California's state senate approved a resolution to change the name last year. The new signs cost an estimated $3,000, paid for through private donations.
Astronaut Scott Kelly is back on American soil, but the work from his year-long mission in space is far from over. I'm John Champion at the CBS Broadcast Center with what's next with him coming up.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
You know, weather days like this can be a little bit tricky, and they can be fun in the weather department at least, because trying to determine who's seeing what can sometimes be quite the challenge. And when you've got temperatures that are going to try to push closer to 40 degrees, and some already are, you get a little bit of a wintry mix with a little rain and snow, because it can still snow even if that temperature just doesn't have the likelihood to stick as much. But you can see the picture all over the place. We go all the way back toward Louisville, still seeing the snow flying, but you're not seeing anything really sticking at this moment, at least from this view. Here in Lexington, Mountain Parkway there close to Slade, and in Frankfort, you're seeing very similar situations. Of course, the parkway looks like a nightmare, though, the actual road itself. Look at the snow blowing up across the area. To our south, well above freezing. Monticello, Somerset, London, even Richmond coming in at 34 degrees. But we're still tracking snow and a little bit of a mix in all of these areas, as well as Lexington. A decent little band of snow passing through the area and also out to our east now. As we're seeing that, as we stopped on the Mountain Parkway, you can see that cam and you can see the snow continues to fly. So not getting any relief from that anytime soon. Much larger system with showers, even some thunderstorms to the south, but snow and eventually rain for a big chunk of Kentucky a little bit later on today. But that's going to come after this band finally works its way out of the area, hour by hour, trying its best to push that warmer air in here and making the transition over to plain old rain, but that'll be after we get in on some of the accumulation. Here's what that looks like with one of our newer runs. Looks like there's going to be a little stripe, basically from Lexington out across parts of eastern Kentucky, where you get 1, maybe up to 3 inches of snow in some little pockets. You can see that shading there. And the rest of us end up with around a trace, 2 up to an inch would be the best way to put that. That's just going by one model, but that's a general idea. Once we get past all this wintry weather, we're going to try to warm things up quite a bit going into the weekend and also into next week, guys. We're back into the low 70s. I want to forget about this wintry weather. I want to get to the 70s, all right?
We're with you.
Let's get there and enjoy. All right, thank you. We're coming back on WKYT. The Cats look to keep the pressure on for the regular season finale.
And the UK women take to the court in the SEC tournament. Dave Baker's next with sports.
The UK women have broken records and new ground in a number of ways since Matthew Mitchell has taken over the program, and today they begin their quest for an SEC championship as they take on LSU this afternoon at 2:30 in Jacksonville with a preview. Here's Christy Thomas.
Kentucky has had its share of adversity this season. Early on, 3 players unexpectedly left the program, and then at one point they were losers of 3 straight in the SEC. But everyone on this team from top to bottom will tell you that it's that adversity that has this team playing its best basketball and has brought them even closer together.
For our team, what we're trying to do right now is become our very best. I don't know where that'll land us, but what I'm proud of is that we actually have a chance for this team to be their very best, and we'll find out where that is. But I think that they've worked themselves into a position, no matter what happens, that they can look back on this season and say, hey, we really worked hard to become a team, a real family, a group of sisters that are fighting for each other, and that's a beautiful thing.
You know, it doesn't really matter, like what happened, in the past. I just feel like we're a better team than we were now. I feel like we're becoming more of a family, and we have each other's back no matter what. Not saying that we did in previous games, but I just feel like we're really just coming together really good.
Kentucky is 3-8 against LSU in SEC tournament games, but the Tigers are a 13 seed and have only won 3 conference games this season. The Cats won their only matchup back in February. We'll have highlights tonight at 6. Buzz, back to you.
Thanks, CT. Funny how these Kentucky basketball seasons go, isn't it? One day you've got no hope, and then the next day you're on top of the world. Now there's just one game left, the home finale in this roller coaster regular season. They've gotten better play for the big men, and Jamal Murray and Tyler Ulis have been consistently good. And with the expected return of Derek Willis, it seems that John Calipari's Cats, all they have to do is build on Tuesday night's performance at Florida.
Gave up 16 offensive rebounds. They only turned it over 5 times. That's 2 games in a row now. The teams we played only turned it over 5 times. We had to play these guys different, which was you had to back up a little bit, and that doesn't lead to turnovers. But we're happy to get out with a W.
Senior Day next for the Cats, Kentucky and LSU, Saturday at 2. You can see it live right here on WKYT. Tonight on the Big Blue Insider, Kentucky's new defensive back coach Steve Clinkscale will join Dick Gabriel in studio. That's at 6 on 630 WLAP. Of course, we'll hear from Christy a little bit later about the Cats SEC opener at the women's tournament. That and much more comes your way. But, guys, for now, that's a look at sports on this Thursday.
All right, interesting time of year. March Madness begins.
Oh, yes, here it is. And there's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
Work has resumed for a second day at the site of the Centerpoint project.
The man charged with murder in the death of Lexington attorney Mark Hinkle is named in a lawsuit filed by Hinkle's widow. Coming up at 12:30, we will explain why his employer is also named in that lawsuit.
Tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot is $144 million, and Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is $40 million.